Hello everyone. This is a speedrun of Leon A, done on PSP. The final time is 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 10 seconds. It is currently tied for first place. Playing PSP is literally the PlayStation version, by the way. Like, it says PSP in the title, but it's literally the PS1 version.
Who are you?
You can buy it on the PlayStation Store for $5.
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
And then, using your PS3, transfer it to your PSP.
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of them.
You'll have to excuse me, I
What's
just
going
woke up.
on in this town?
Hold on.
I got the cracks in my voice.
I don't have a clue. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
Fucking cat. So anyway, basketball court. It is possible to dodge through these zombies. The most consistent way to do so is by using a handgun shot to knock back the first one. So you could save 30 HP in here, but I chose to take the bite and shove them over. The zombie you shove back, if it collides with other zombies, will knock back the others, creating a space for you to run through. These guys over here, you can run a straight line, but you kind of have to make your decision about whether you're going to go left or right on the last zombie. After that, it's just a straight shot to the bus here. Going full quick shots on the first female zombie on the ground, then we're going to do the handgun thing I mentioned earlier. Shoot the second zombie in the kneecaps, get him to stumble backwards. He can't attack you while he's stumbling backwards, and you also gain full push priority, meaning you can just push right around him. And now we're in the RPD. And there's also some cutscenes.
Oh, man.
Not really
Who
sure
are
what there
you?
is to elaborate on at this
Oh,
point. I think I've pretty much
you must
explained
be the
everything
new
so
guy.
far.
Leon. Sorry, but it looks like your party has been canceled. What happened? About 2 months ago, there was this incident involving zombies in a mansion located in the outskirts of this city. Chris and the other STARS members discovered that Umbrella was behind everything. They risked their lives to reveal the truth, but no one believed them. Not long after that, all this started to happen. Hang in there. Don't worry about me. Just rescue the survivors in the other rooms. Here, take this key card. You should be able to unlock the doors in the hall with this. Now go. But just go.
Fine, but I'm coming back for you. Just hold on.
I suppose I could elaborate a little bit on some basic speedrunning strats. In general, the things that I reset over are mostly related to how much health I have at a given point in the run. There's some places where I actually can take damage, and other times where I simply can't take damage. I bet the only forced bite that I take is on the zombies in the basketball court, and also one of the zombies in the train station. I also only heal with first aid sprays. If I don't have a first aid spray and I'm in caution, then the run is over, because your time loss begins to compound as Leon starts to move slower and turn slower. When that liquor drops, just run up, tap left. You'll just swerve right around him. For inventory management purposes, I'm going to wait until a little later before we use the lighter to get the red gem. This way, whenever we go to grab the unicorn medal, it will be in the third slot. It is best to solve this puzzle in parts because we go through this whole area 3 times. It saves about 2 seconds overall. This is in A scenarios only. You push that statue back 2 pushes, then you just push it all the way. For Claire, it takes about 1 more half push. Elaborating on the caution foot speed thing earlier, Leon runs about 5% slower.
Leon!
So it is a pretty significant amount of time. That means you lose about 1 second per
Good
room.
to see you're still among the living.
And when going for world record, you can't really be losing that kind of time.
After all.
This category is pretty optimized for the most part. I'd say that there might be
No reason
about
for us to stay any longer than necessary.
10 to 20
Let's
seconds of
split up,
obvious
look for any
gains.
survivors and get out of here.
I apologize for my audio
Right.
kind of cutting out
One last thing.
here and there.
Here's a radio. Take it.
I think there might be something wrong with my cables.
That way we can keep in touch if anything happens.
I have a pretty complicated capture setup, so I intend to rewire all the cables at some point. So we'll push the blue statue down 3 times, and then push over here 8.5 times. Then push to the right. If you push it a full 9 pushes, then the statue will catch the corner, and you'll have to go back and push it back, and it wastes about 5 to 10 seconds to correct it. Instant run killer, especially this early on in the run. For that zombie, you could just wait and then run around him, and it'd be a little faster than the aiming trick that I do there. But I usually just aim to line it up and just run straight forward. There's not really too terribly much you can do about these hands here, short of just try to keep things nice and lined up and then move. To get around this liquor, we're going to swerve to the left and just try to hug the interior walls as best we can. I guess I could talk a little bit about Leon versus Claire, but Leon has a bigger hitbox, so he's slightly debilitated in terms of dodging, but most if not all of Claire's weapons are all projectile based, so it's a little easier to do damage with Leon, but harder to dodge. And also Leon's whole scenario is different. You'll also notice that I didn't use the item box. So for this one, on the 6th step I twinge to the right, and as long as I don't twinge too much, as long as I twinge it at exactly the right angle, you just sort of slide off the corner, and the liquor kind of retreats as you go around the corner. It's a kind of a tough dodge to practice, but that is the dodge that most everyone uses because it is believed to be the most consistent. There is a slightly faster dodge where if you run on the outside wall, you can trigger the licker to jump. Generally, whenever a licker jumps, then his active damage frames do not start up until later in the attack animation when he's mid-air. So he's actually a little easier to dodge as long as you run in exactly the direction of the licker. If you fail, then it causes 110 damage. That attack is not an instant kill, contrary to popular belief. It just takes off over half your HP, and caution is when you are in under half your HP. Not to sound like an elitist douchebag, but most people who get hit by that attack are actually already in caution, which is why they quote-unquote die instantly. So for that dodge, as you saw earlier, all you have to do is just hold up and left until you're at a 90-degree turn, then sort of correct yourself by sliding off the banister, and then hitting the stairs. Dodging in between those two zombies is probably actually the easiest crazy-looking dodge in the game. So for this over here, we're going to run by these guys, and then we're going to walk about a step in order to get the zombie to turn towards us so that it creates a window to run around him. There's 4 zombies here, 5 in the US version. So this room is probably the only room that's like legit slower in the US version as far as dodging goes. So we're going to go up these stairs and go ahead and solve this puzzle here. We're going to get the first 2 plugs early. By avoiding the item box, it saves about 5 seconds. We will still be forced to carry the club key though, in order to offset doing the 2-plug route, which means that we're going to place the 2 plugs early the first time that we reach the G Embryo boss room. This is another room that's different between the Japanese and US version. Normally there's 2 zombies on this particular section with this last zombie over here. Really that dodge is pure RNG. Meaning it's purely luck-based. So it's like, why play the American version when you can just like run straight through it at that point? Because there is really very minimal skill involved in that dodge. For this room over here, we want to actually run as close as we can to the windows as possible, so that when the last crow busts in, we just run behind it. Yet again, here's another room that's different between the Japanese and US versions. The zombies are slightly more aggressive on the US version, just barely. In general, it's the version differences are actually like not enough to really separate the US and Japanese versions. I'll get a little bit more into details in a second. We're gonna go in between that fence and that light post, and because we're playing as Leon and he has the wider hitbox, trying to squeeze behind Misty is not really as viable of a strat. Doing the 4-plug route is 1 second faster, but the 2 and 2 plug route is going to be safer overall because you have to dodge lickers a bit less. Right, so version differences. There's about There's about 5 rooms in Leon A where there's going to be more enemies, and they may be slightly more aggressive, but overall, getting the fastest pattern in either version does not make it faster or slower, except for maybe like one room where it's like 1 second, at which point it just comes down to how lucky you are. So just rather play the Japanese version in that case, and also the text is faster because there's less of it. So menuing, if you're familiar with fighting games, then you know, like the quarter circle motion. It's a little easier on PSP to do diagonals. Whenever you try to move into slot 4, then you can just hold down and right, get to slot 4. For that zombie, I try to tag the wall a little bit before doing a hard turn, because that'll put me in an angle where it's less likely that I will get grabbed. Once again, avoiding the item box. But fast menuing is basically just comes down to doing like some fighting game inputs, actually, believe it or not. Because Resident Evil 2 has some weird frame rate interactions with its inputs. Quarter circle forward to the right will put you in slot 6. Not really sure why that is, but I just kind of roll with it. Four, 5, 6, tap right. Liquor backs up, fortunately. So we're still at around 170 damage. Once again, caution is when you drop under 100. I do a little bit of a stutter step there to set up my angle against Misty. We all call the female zombies Misties. Angle to the right here. It's a bit tough to do this dodge because, once again, wide hitbox. But I try to let that first zombie hug the wall that he runs into before I dodge around him and sort of like make a J-type motion around it. So in order to dodge Marvin, we hold down and right in order to angle ourselves up to get the key. But because we got the fast Marvin pattern, it meant that we had to dodge all the way around him, so lost about 2 seconds there. Holding up and left, going through these double doors here. Then we're gonna hug the desk. Sometimes that zombie will bite. It seems to be a completely random occurrence. Down the stairs, running through these dogs. We're gonna kind of go in a straight line. Well, okay, normally that dog is running straight for you, but by the time I saw that the dog actually wasn't going to run towards me, I just decided to go ahead and correct my angle. But generally, you need to be running parallel through the hallway.
Sorry about
And then as soon as you see the dog, you swerve to the left.
I thought you were another zombie.
Who are you?
Those dogs are not there in the beast scenario. There's just zombies instead.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking for some guy named Ben. He's one of those reporter types, always looking for a scoop. I heard he was locked up in the cell block, only there's a wrecked car barring the entrance. I've been trying to find another way inside.
As is tradition, I'm recording commentary in front of my
If we
Twitch
work
chat.
together, we can move
A game that I like to play with Twitch chat
Give me a hand here, will you?
is What's Up Ada's Skirt. Because during one cutscene you can actually see Leon clearly looking up Ada's skirt as he hoists her into a vent. Post in the comments section what you think is up Ada's skirt.
Ada, wait!
I looked up Ada's skirt and found Half-Life 3. In order to set
Let
up
me guess. You must
the
be bent,
correct motion
right?
tween for this
Get
cutscene,
up, now.
rather the fastest motion tween, I usually just
What do you want? I'm trying to sleep
twinge left
here.
on the 5th step until the cutscene triggers. Obviously, the shorter the
Is this
distance
the
Leon
guy?
walks before he
Ben? You told the city
initiates
officials
the
that
part of
you
the
knew
cutscene
something
where he
about what's been going on, didn't you? What did you
starts
tell
talking
them?
to Ben,
And who the heck are you?
the faster the cutscene will
I'm
play
trying
out.
to find my boyfriend. His name's John. He was
So the
working
angle
for
at which you
branch
approach a
office of
cutscene is
Umbrella
important
based in
sometimes.
Chicago, but he suddenly disappeared 6 months ago. I heard a rumor that he's here in the city.
I don't know anything. And even if I did, why would I want to tell you?
Okay, I say we leave him in there. Does anyone know where they put the key to this cell?
I have it right here, officer. But I'm not about to leave this cell. Those zombies aren't the only things crawling around out there.
What was that?
Like I said, I'm not leaving this cell. Get out of here before you lead it right to me.
Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm the only cop left alive in this building.
What?
Look, if you want to live, then you're gonna have to leave with me.
But do you even know how to get out of the city? There's a kennel in the back of the building. Inside the kennel is a manhole. Go through and it'll lead you to the sewer entrance, but it won't be easy.
All right, I'm going.
So now we're on our way through the sewers, going into the sewage disposal facility. In order to get the club key, bit of a menuing flub up there. It's kind of difficult to transition between controllers because I'm playing on literally a PSP and capturing it with component cables. Also, I got really lucky with that dodge. It's like when you see the spider skittering around the corner and running, then you want to go to the inside wall as soon as you possibly can. That spider actually has multiple patterns, so generally the best policy is to just like kind of stay on the inside wall, so that in the unlikely event that he does try to spit poison, he actually won't hit you. And the wall will catch the poison instead. But if you get hit by the poison spit, then it will poison you 100% of the time. And because you would need a blue herb in order to eliminate the
think I've
poison,
introduced
which
myself
is several rooms
My
away,
name's Leon.
getting
I'm
poisoned
the RPG.
is an instant run killer.
It's a dead end.
But that being
You
said,
think we can get upstairs through this shaft? Give me a boost. I'll go and check.
if you get poisoned and you don't really care about your time, there is one blue herb in the save room next to this one. In the A scenario, there's dogs, so we need to take a kind of a wide angle around that first one. Because the secondary player character, is Ada. You have to push that first box 7 times, and push this one to the right once. Ada can climb fast, so she can push that box up twice. Also fun to note that Ada is the fastest character in the game. So if in the event that you ever decide to play Extreme Battle Mode, play Ada. Gonna take a tight turn inside there, and usually if you hit that corner there, the dog usually turns to the left and sometimes blocks you from passing that way. But I got lucky there,
Leon,
so
can you hear me?
I saved about a couple of tenths of a second.
Did you find anything?
Right here. Hey, I can't reach the ventilation hole. I'm going to have to find another way around. I'll catch up with you.
So as you saw, I used the first 2 plugs to free up inventory space so that I wouldn't use the key. Ugh, that movement. But really, you only need the club key to unlock the room with the Magnum. For that spider there, I paused until he like turned straight forward, and then I waited for him to start moving. Because if you're at the right distance, then the spider will do a physical attack instead of an acid spit. If I started running immediately, then there would have been a very high chance of the spider spitting acid at me and ruining the run. So that's why there was a bit of a delayed movement as soon as the camera faded in. This is another room where the US version, I think I might need to recant a little bit. There's 2 liquors in here instead of 1. So the way I did that dodge there, Japanese version only, obviously, is I walked 1 step when running around that corner, and that got the liquor to be on his hind legs whenever I ran by, and I baited out a lick instead of a forward slash. As long as they're on their hind legs, then they actually have a different attack pattern. Because I just ran straight to the stairs, obviously we're not going to use the club key on the mortuary door. There is a very risky version of this dodge over here, but I generally don't do it because even though it could save about 2-3 seconds, it is an instant run killer if you mess it up, and being that I'm already like 30 minutes into the run, I don't really think it's worth it. At least it's not worth it on console. There's plenty of other easier time saves that you can make to make up that time. Such as generally not messing up movement, but if it's something luck-based like that dodge, where you just touch a corner of the wall and run through the crowd, forget about it. The murder hall is another surefire run killer already as it is. Going in to solve this puzzle to get the gear is pretty easy. because the order in which we're going into the rooms kind of sets up for the dodges. But the dodge on the way back is typically what winds up killing runs, and it's usually why I like to have as much health as possible. I was lucky that I ran far enough forward in order to be able to dodge past Misty. She also had like kind of a delayed... No, I think whenever she dodges instantly is probably for the best. Whenever she like tries to attack instantly. And this return trip is very easy, just stay on the outside wall, it's fine. Sometimes manipulating zombies to spin a certain way towards you is the best. For this liquor, holding up and left is 100% consistent as long as you're in fine. We only have one more plug to collect. But yeah, the zombies spinning, depending on what side of the zombie you are on when it attacks. So if you're running at the zombie at a specific angle, you can get it to spin one way, but it'll miss you completely. But of course, what's also important is how quickly the zombie will actually attack. Because if you try to bait out an attack in one direction and the zombie decides to attack late, then you will probably get grabbed from behind. And Misty's attack speeds are pretty unpredictable, which is usually what ends up killing runs because of Misty. Gotta make sure to equip the Magnum while using the gear, by the way. You should only be equipping and unequipping weapons.
Get away!
When you go to use items in menus. One other thing that you've probably noticed at this point is I don't use the shotgun in Leon A. Personally, I find that using the shotgun in general in speedruns will not teach you how to dodge things. The only exception that I make is in Leon B, where I actually do use the shotgun.
Damn, I don't believe this.
Just simply to make the run consistent. That whole scenario is very, very, very luck-based at times, as far as the dodges go.
Bitter irony. The chief of police, a co-conspirator. Get that scum.
But there's also,
him
in general, no enemies
hang in there, Ben.
that are really worth keeping the shotgun for in Leon A.
My chest, it's burning.
I still have the handgun, specifically for taking on Birkin's Claw when it comes through the tram.
Good God, what was that?
And for killing the Croc to save on Magnum bullets.
Where are you going, Ada?
To the chemical plant. I have a feeling that's where I'll find John.
Ada, wait! Hey! Do you read me, Claire? We now have access to the back of the parking lot.
Got it.
I'm getting out of here and heading to the sewer. Can you meet me there?
I'm on my way.
You know, I have to wonder, At this point in the game, how does Ada know about Umbrella's secret laboratory? When I was a kid, I read the strategy guide for this game before playing the game. So I guess that's like one detail that I just like never really noticed. Once again, hug the inside. Spider getting a little cheeky. I kind of couldn't decide whether I needed to go left or go right. But I took a body blow. There's worse things than taking a body blow. It cost me about like 1 second. So running to about 75% of the way through that, about 75% of the way through that, caution marker on the side of the walkway there will get you close enough to the boss to be able to kill it in 6 shots, because damage degradation is based on distance.
Ada! What was that all about? Running off like that was reckless and stupid. Those zombies are everywhere, not to mention that thing that got Ben.
I was there, Leon. I know.
Look, Ada. As an officer, it's my job to look out for you. But we're not going to get through this alive if we don't work together. Okay?
All right. We'll do this your way for now.
But as you saw in that boss fight, it took me 7 shots, so I was a little too far away. Truthfully, it's safest to shoot at 7 shots from a farther distance, but...
Ada! Heads up!
Leon, that woman was... I have to talk to her.
I unequipped the gun here. Because it actually shortens the length of the cutscene. I figure that's probably the best place to unequip the gun, because then Ada is at full stop before she drops off the ledge.
Don't move.
So it would actually be the
I'm not mistaken.
section,
Identify yourself.
the one part of that section where the
Ada?
least time is lost
Ada
by going
Wong.
into the menu.
Ada Wong. I've heard that name before. Now I remember. One of the men from Chicago who came to assist the T-virus research used his girlfriend's name as his password. Ada and John, I believe. How did you know? Who are you? Annette Birkin. My husband is the man responsible for the creation of the T-virus. William Birkin. What? John's dead. He became one of those zombies. My condolences. And although I regret this, you will be joining him shortly. I won't let anyone take the G-virus away from me. G-virus? It's capable of creating the ultimate bioweapon. Its potential is even greater than that of the T-virus. Then that must mean the creature in the police department is... precisely my husband, William. And it's all Umbrella's fault. None of this would have happened if they hadn't tried to steal his research away from him. So those rats were the carriers of the virus. As a result of his virus-induced transmutation, William should have lost any prior memories he had as a human by now. Even worse, every G-virus bioweapon, including William, has the ability to implant embryos into other creatures.
And create offspring.
No.
So that thing that we basically just fought was, the thing that Birkin shoved down Ben's throat.
Too bad.
What it's supposed to do if the embryo is a genetic match for the host, is it's supposed to basically replicate Birkin in another human, but it didn't.
Ada?
Instead, the embryo violently rejected itself. Because the embryo couldn't rewrite Ben's RNA. So we're just going to run under the paths that these spiders are going to spit towards. Leon winds up just being barely faster. Fortunately, the valve handle is in slot 3, so all we have to do is just tap down when we go into the menu in order to turn the valves. Just a quick motion. And also we have to make sure that the handgun is equipped by this menu. I usually equip the handgun right after the G embryo fight. Coming up here is a very minor glitch, one that saves 2 seconds. But, of course, if you get it wrong, then you die. And it's called the Quick Crock. What I usually do for this strategy is a little something like this. I'm gonna run over here, and then just like camp in front of the button. And then we're gonna wait for the Croc to swing his head to the left side of the screen 3 times after chomp chomp. 1, 2, now. And then what he'll do is he'll gobble up the canister faster than average.
Leon.
This bullet wound isn't making things any easier.
Quiet, Leon. I'll patch you up.
This
That's
cutscene heals
200.
Leon's HP up to 200.
Don't
It's a
mention
free
it.
heal.
I just found out. John's dead.
What?
So up to this point, we shouldn't
Never
have used
mind.
any healing
Let's
items.
just get out of here. The sooner the better.
Almost at the end of the sewers. Just grabbing the 2 metals that we need to exit. gonna try to climb that ledge on the right so that way Ada has a significantly lower chance of blocking you whenever you try to get off the ledge and run this way towards the gate. We're only picking up the wolf metal, which is on the corpse on the right. We'll do a little quarter circle forward on these menus here, still keeping the handgun equipped, but the way it's set up, all we have to do is quarter circle forward to move into slot 6 twice. Generally, the sewer is a ton of menus. You don't really need to worry about anything particularly hazardous. I think it's the most boring part of the game, personally. About the only thing that poses any real risk is actually stopping to shoot spiders, which are already slow and not very likely to hit you anyway. So this section, this little mini-boss here, what we have to do is we have to wait for a certain animation to come out of the claw before we shoot. So the claw is going to thrust through, and then is going to start the animation where he like starts digging around. When he starts wiggling his fingers after the claw thrusts down. That's your signal to shoot. If you shoot any earlier, then it'll take more bullets. Just a waste of time at that point. So right here, we're actually going to go ahead and take a bite here. Hopefully Ada doesn't start shooting at the zombie. Because if that happens, then Ada winds up wasting our time. Because the whole idea is to knock the zombie over and not shoot it. And if Ada shoots it, then Leon escapes from the grab and the zombie does not get knocked back, which means that we have to repeat it again or Ada has to kill the zombie, which wastes a good 7 seconds. Pretty significant time loss at this level. So in this room I grab the magnum bullets and the first aid spray because we're going to need one for possibly the Birkin fight, but mostly every part leading up to the laboratory. Or to the liquors, the laboratory liquors. And I try to grab as many clips as I can. You can use up to 2 first aid sprays before you take a hit on your rank. The maximum rank in the American version of the game is an A rank. So American A is Japanese S. The max rank on the US version is not S, it's A.
Ada! Ada! Can you hear me? Come on, snap out of it!
We're going to have the Magnum equipped, fully loaded. It takes 9 shots to take down Birkin. What I usually do is I run up left until I hit the control panel. I think I started turning a little too early there. Either that or he attacked late. But one thing is for sure, my spacing was very, very off. So this was a pretty bad fight.
Don't die on me, Ada. Come on. Wake up. Come on.
What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to fire 8 shots on the boss, and then there's a part where he starts transforming, and while he's transforming, he actually has full iframes and you can't kill him. So you want to wait until that transformation is finished. You can see that I delayed the last shot. That's actually where I reload the Magnum. I just like do a manual reload.
Welcome back. Hey, take it easy. We're inside Umbrella's secret lab. I'll go find something to treat that wound, so just rest here in the meantime.
But I'll only slow you down with these injuries. Go. Save yourself.
I told you, it's my job to look after you.
So you could see earlier I didn't get the weapon box key.
If you stay with me.
Getting the custom Magnum is actually not going to be beneficial in any way, shape, or
I
form.
really enjoy being with you.
Because it takes about
I
15 seconds to get the
I'm
custom
not capable
Magnum.
of caring about anyone, but I don't want to
I think it
lose
makes
you.
your DPS stream a bit slower.
Together. Wait here for me. I'll be right back.
But more importantly, it completely messes up your spacing, which is actually pretty bad for the final boss. I bet the only thing that it's good for is taking out lickers in one shot, super lickers with one shot. What the hell was that line that I took? Just grabbing the first aid spray there in order to make sure that I can pass the super lickers without being in caution. I was already making pretty good time, aside from Birkin, so I kind of didn't want to throw the runaway. Truthfully, what I should have been able to do was do Birkin without taking a single hit. I think the correct pattern in that Birkin fight might have been 3 shots, turn, run away, then 4 shots when he transforms, and then, no, 3 shots, 5 shots until he transforms. And then maybe the final shot whenever he actually does the transformation. I don't know, man. I gotta practice that. But that's pretty much the one thing that kept me from getting a sub 105. What I usually do here is I wait until the 5th step to turn, because whenever I go to open these shutters, then it sets me up at an angle where all I have to do is hold up and left to be able to dodge and hit the door. I'm not really sure if that's like the most efficient way to move, but a lot of people in the speedrunning community seem to think that perpetual movement is better than pre-turning before moving, so I just kind of roll with that. After 5 steps, I walk around that corner, and that usually gets the second licker to get up on his hind legs and sometimes prompts the 3rd licker there to jump off screen, and if he jumps and I can keep moving, then he won't hit me at all. Super lickers do more damage in general than regular lickers and take a lot more bullets to kill. I think they're also slightly bigger. They're actually probably the single most annoying part about speedrunning this game. I'm gonna run the interior route away from that zombie there, because if I run close to the zombie, which would be the straighter line, then the zombie will come through the door on the way out, and I actually want him way the hell away from me, like walking into that corner the hell away from me, because otherwise I'll have to take the bite. So I did a little move there, which was like walk, run, walk, run. Apparently I didn't actually need that first aid spray. That's actually the final part that I need to be having a first aid spray anyway. So I routed in that first aid spray use. That's supposed to be the one first aid spray that I get throughout the entire run, but because I took damage on Birkin earlier, I had to get 2. Didn't want to be running in caution. Also, you probably don't want to go as close to the plant as I did. That plant there just now. Generally what I do for the 2 plug route, for the 2 and 2 plug route, is make sure that I have extra ammo for this room in particular, because dodging in this room is a pain in the ass, even though it's way more conservative on bullets. I just use 1 bullet to kind of spin around there. Luckily, I only had to shoot 2 of the zombies, 3 of the zombies total in that room.
You murdered my husband. I know what you're looking for. You came for the G-Virus, didn't you? But you'll never take it from me. This is my husband's legacy. Now, where's that?
But normally I expect to kill the 3 zombies in front of the Mo disc anyway.
Talking about.
It comes out to about maybe 2 seconds slower
You really
than
don't know anything, do you?
just getting the dodge,
So gullible.
I think.
She's one of the operatives sent here by the agency. The only
Because
reason
it's
why she
significantly
came here
less
is to
movement.
obtain the G-Virus.
But
That's
there
a
is
lie.
a bit of a time cost
No,
in
it's
picking up
the
the Magnum
truth.
rounds.
I discovered this when I did a background check on her.
I opted for that
Specifically
because
posted
it was more
on and
consistent.
became his girlfriend to get information about Umbrella.
That can't be. I know her. Ada wouldn't do something like that.
If you don't want to believe it, I don't really care. You're about to die anyway. What happened?
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform. All employees proceed to the bottom platform.
Leon. I've been waiting for you, Leon.
What are you doing?
You know what this is about. So just hand over the G-Virus.
I don't believe this. Annette was right. About everything.
That's why I told you to leave without me, but you wouldn't listen. Now hand it over. Don't make me shoot you.
You can't do that. Ada! I've got you. Don't give up.
Leon, it's over. Just let me go.
Shut up. You're gonna make it.
It's too late, Leon. We both know it.
No. I promised you that we would escape. You just have to help me out here.
I really wanted to escape with you, Leon. Escape from everything. Goodbye.
Ada! No. So, this is what everyone's been dying for.
All employees proceed to the bottom platform. Repeat, all employees proceed to the bottom platform. Repeat, all employees proceed to the bottom platform.
These last two zombies over here, you can either shoot them or dodge them, but because Leon has a larger hitbox, I just opt to shoot them. Which is fine, because I can just reload over here anyway.
All employees proceed to the bottom platform. All employees
5 minutes until detonation.
The final Birkin fight. In general, if you really need health, you could have just dropped the knife at the start of the game, but what I do here for this strat is I stand on top of the P and I aim down. Aiming down actually gives you initiative in shooting, because it's significantly faster to raise your gun to the boss's foot than it is to raise it to shoulder height. So even if you're not able to quick shot, you can just do that. And right here I'm just getting a bit of spacing, but as you can see it kind of failed. The boss was actually supposed to keep jumping on top of the tube over and over again. And that's the end of the run.
Hurry up! Leon! Leon!
Stay down.
Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine.
It's over.
No. I have to find my brother.
You're right. This is just the beginning.
So yeah, the only major mistakes throughout the course of the run were some minor menu errors. Aside from picking up the first aid spray I didn't need and taking too much damage on Birkin, the run turned out pretty okay. Actually, truth be told, that first aid spray did wind up coming in handy because I did take damage on Birkin. If I didn't use that first aid spray, then I'd probably not fare so well at the end of the fight, huh? Either way, yeah, so this was the first of 4 records that I got throughout the month of August and September. Shoutouts to Darez and Joel. This is actually tied for first place at the time of this recording with Darez and Joel. And also, huge shout out to all of my regular viewers at twitch.tv/CarcinogenSDA. They actually did manage to eke out a smile with a piece of copy pasta. Swing your zombie, here we go. Welcome all to the Carcinogen Show. We talk about cats, we talk about dicks, and most of all, we discuss super licks. Can't really say that the rhyming pattern kind of worked out really well on that one, but it was enough. It was enough to get like just a little bit of a snicker. Thanks for that, chat. Yeah, by the way, if you are not already following my stream on Twitch, go to twitch.tv/CarcinogenSDA. If you feel like supporting my content in any way, shape, or form, then, you know, subscriptions are half off throughout the month of September. Otherwise, if you like what you see, please be sure to like and comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again in the next video. Later.